We're live. Need one more thing here. All right. We have some paper towels. We are live. Where do I put everything here? That seems like a good place. So, excuse me, guys. We have 3 different razors. I have this Eskilstuna Swedish razor. They're supposed to have pretty hard steel, but for some reason, I don't think the steel is very hard on this. I don't know why. It just doesn't seem like it is. Niemand, hello, my friend. Welcome back. It's always a pleasure having you here. We had some fun time last time. This is an Eskilstuna. I'm actually selling this on my eBay. But yeah, gonna hone this up before it goes off to a new home. Then we have this Zartina razor. This was sent to me by my friend Sean G, who made a live yesterday and kind of inspired to do this live today. This had a Jasper edge. Jasper is a unique edge. I haven't seen many of those Jasper edges out there. And like he was explaining in his stream last night, the Jasper edge is just like below the Codical, JNat, and Arkansas edge. It's just not as good. Or, not that it's bad, it's just not as keen, in my opinion. Do you like Turkish? I like Turkish. I do like Turkish. Anyways, this is a Solingen razor. It's a 5/8. This is also a 5/8. I do like Turkish, my friend. Welcome to the stream. And then we have this Rocket razor. This is a Japanese razor. This is about a 6/8 razor. And it's a really nice razor. Really nice to hone. It's a frame back. Today we're going to be honing on cauticles again. This was the cauticle we saw last time. The difference is last time we were using the Lagris slurry stone. Today we have this less lat slurry stone, which has the hybrid side here, yellow side here. Yellow side, most people say it's pretty quick. It's a pretty quick slurry, so it removes a lot of material pretty quick. And then we also have this LV, La Venette, and this one is also really nice because the LV is just a really consistent vein. So yeah, today I'm going to be using 2 different slurry stones, and then the vintage stone that we got. This is an 8 by, I don't know what the hell this is. I think this is 8, and then I don't know what the what the dimensions are from here. Probably like 1.5, something like that. But yeah, we have the 3 razors here, and I'm gonna start with let's start with this one. We're gonna do a bevel set. Okay, so for the purposes of the live stream, we gotta make sure that we kill the edge of the razor. We're killing it here. And this is a natural stone. This is a caudicle. Here I have a packing peanut. This is what I use to check if it's sharp. And as you guys can see, it's not going in. Not going in at all. It's not shaving. It's not nothing. Bad. Malo. So, wetting my stone. And which one would you guys go for? The one that's consistent for finishing, or would you go with the one that is a little bit quicker on the stone? So since we need to remove a lot of material, we're setting a bevel. This is the slurry stone that I want, the one that removes material quicker. So, and the feel of this razor here is just really nice. Or not razor, my bad, guys. The feel of this stone, the tactile feel, is really nice. My friend Neiman says, will be a pleasure to see your live honing session. Hell yeah, man. Today's my day off. Sean G inspired me to make a live today, so here we are. Just sharpening razors. I need to make a sharpening knife stream, but we'll get to that when we get to that. These big pieces of less flat are hard to come by. You don't get too many of them in the market, and when you do, they are very expensive. Cauticles in general are very expensive. All right, so we have the slurry the way we want it, and let's get onto it. Hopefully you guys have a good angle there. Now, with this stone, the caudicle, as we've spoken about before, the thicker that the slurry is, the faster it will cut, but the less keen it will be. And this razor has kind of a warp. Unlike knife sharpening, which you put the angle by holding the knife the way you want it to, the spine is what dictates the sharpening angle. So I'm resting the spine flat here. It's very different from sharpening a knife. And this one has a little bit of a warp, so you have to like roll with it. As you guys can see, the slurry is getting darker here. What that means is we're removing material from the razor. And you can do half strokes. You don't have to do just X strokes. This is what we call an X stroke right here, where you go heel forward, you go and you do an X pattern. But you also have half strokes, and you have circles that you can use. Now I'm feeling the stone get a little bit dry. You never want to go in dry, if you catch my drift. So we are putting a little bit of water in there, and we can keep moving. And that feels good. We'll check for the HHT soon. Or not HHT, the packing peanut, see if we're biting into it. Once we're biting into it, we know that we have a bevel set. How good is that bevel set? We don't know. We can get and we can imagine how good it is, but at least we know we're cutting. Are there better stones for bevel setting? Of course. But that's not why we do it. And saying that we have better stones is actually kind of a lie. Every stone has its unique characteristics, things that make them unique. Keener is not always better. Sometimes you want a more comfortable edge. For some guys, having a really keen edge doesn't feel too good. So they have to compromise, find a middle ground. And the honer, the person who's shaving, is the one that needs to decide what they're looking for. All right. Now this is looking pretty muddy. But that's how you want it for when you're setting a bevel on a caudicle. I'm pretty sure. Maybe here on the heel, a little more work is needed. But I'm feeling it a little bit dry again. And like we said, we never go in dry. So I deleted TikTok, CapCut, and I am having a hard time because now they unbanned it, but you can't download it from the App Store. So I'm in a weird position. I need to find a new editing software. For now, doing the live streams because there's no editing needed to be done. Later along the stream, I'm going to go into a forum I'm going to read some forum posts with you guys and discuss what we're reading on the forum, questions that people have, and we're just going to answer them here on the live stream. All right. Now, I think, let me check. I'm looking at the undercut here. I do seem to have undercut on that side. Maybe this side not as much. So we're going to give that some love. We're removing material here from this Equalstuna 5/8. Let's go for the undercut again. Okay, we picked up undercut. And now we're just going to do some X strokes to blend that all together. Now remember, this razor has a warp. So we need to roll with the razor. Roll the spine. We're doing X strokes now. Pressure. How much pressure am I using here? Enough. There's no recipe. You can say medium pressure, light pressure, heavy pressure. It doesn't matter because I don't have a pizza scale here to tell you how many grams of pressure I'm using. I just know I'm using enough pressure, you know, and that's all you need to know. You need to find what works for you. Okay, I think we have this blended. Let me get a paper towel, which I have right here. And we're going to check if we are biting into the razor. We have the packing peanut here, old trusty packing peanut. I'm not looking for into the cloud. Trying to see if it can bite. It's biting there. It's biting everywhere except here on the heel. And we're not going to keep moving until we have that set. So there's no point in refining further when you don't have anything there. So gonna give the heel a little bit love and then trying to blend it. You can do circles. If anybody in chat has a question of what I'm doing, feel free to ask. I am all ears, and hopefully I am all answers. Hopefully I can help anyone in chat that needs it or has a question. I'm curious to see if that little work that we did, if that was enough. Like I said, this less flat yellow side slurry is pretty quick, and it's pretty pasty right now. Cleaning the razor. Have the peanut here. Let's see if that was enough too. It's definitely not biting like the rest of the razor. And it feels a little pasty right now. So I'm going to put a little bit of water and maybe some more slurry. I think that little amount should be enough. But I do need to make sure the surface is wet. Crazy that TikTok ban, man. And CapCut. I knew that the TikTok ban was happening. I did not know that CapCut was going to get affected. Took me by surprise. And CapCut is my editing software that I use for this YouTube channel. My friend Neiman says, do you only use always one hand honing on razor? I started with two, and now it's hard for me to change one hand. If I'm honing without doing a live stream, I'm doing a two-handed. It's way more comfortable. I feel like I have more balance, but in order to provide the best viewing experience for you guys, I'm doing one-handed. I've gotten pretty good at it just because I always like doing both. I like doing everything, you know? So even when I'm doing my my lather. I always do bowl lathering, face lathering, puck lathering, just to stay rounded on everything. So I do one-handed honing. I do two-handed honing. I do prefer two-handed. I just feel like you have more balance, and you can kind of feel where the pressure is at. My good friend Eric says, thanks for giving me a heads up. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at our chat that we have on. What a dick move. It's going to be a long live stream. Sorry, guys. I haven't read the chat that we have, but I know you guys are talking about me. All right, let's check how the heel of the razor is doing. We weren't. Lathan, how long have you been doing this? Straight razors specifically, just a year now. Okay, so we're biting into the razor now. It's biting into the packing peanut. It can be better. So, but knives, I've been doing knives for a while now. But knives and razors, you might think it's the same thing, and it's not. They're completely different animals. There are some basic things that correlate between the two, but for the most part, they're their own unique thing. Neiman says, for me, I find one-handed, rolling, flying X strokes, swaying better for warped razors. Yeah, but for me, even with a warped razor, I feel like with two hands, I'm a little bit better. But one thing when you're honing, if you want to get a feel for the razor, is put your thumb really close here to the blade and feel it right there. Don't have it all the way back here. Put it really close and feel it. You can feel the stone. You can feel what it's doing. So when I'm doing my finishing strokes, I'm doing this. I'm really close to the blade. My finger, see how close it is to the blade? I'm really feeling it, rolling it. When there's a lot of work I need to do, so in the beginning and medium, so you have your course work, your beginning work, your halfway work, and then your finishing work. For both my beginning work and my halfway point work, I just go with it. And then for my finishing, I get right in there really close. Yeah, for sure. Lathan, right? I hope I'm saying that right, Lathan. Can you let me know I'm saying it right? I really don't want to say it or pronounce it the wrong way. Lathan on top. There you guys go. Shout out to Lathan on top. Oh, good. And then I'm doing these half strokes now. Kind of blending it all in. And then X strokes to smooth it all out. So what do you do, Lathan? Lathan on top. What's your channel about? Let us know here in the chat. Oh yeah, that's feeling nice. Pretty soon I'm going to switch to the different slurry stone. Now we got 3 different razors that we're honing today. So okay. Bagging peanut. Still have some liquid here. Bagging peanut. It's biting. Okay. The heel is biting a little bit, not as much as the rest of the blade, but gonna give it a little bit more here. Thanks for the explanation. And to hit the very end of the tip, you lift slightly the razor up. Yeah, so I kind of move it like this. So here, I'm gonna show you. See how I have it this way? Sometimes I'm gonna do it exaggerated here. But you can see it's part of this over here. It's off the stone. I go, I move it, and then I'm lifting this other side. And then the same on the back side. And now I've done it so many times that it's almost, it comes natural. Sometimes I get warped razors and I don't even know they're warped for a while because I'm always rolling my strokes. Working that heel a little bit with some pressure. Just put a little bit more water here. Let's change the slurry to the LV slurry now and do a dilution. Start diluting because we were just setting the bubble there. And then Layson says, paste test, but I was just doing it like a joke with my friends in school. And then I just posted it to YouTube and whatnot. Taste test. Okay, that sounds fun. Usually with razors, I don't like going on paper. And then Kyle G says, been impressed and very happy with the Sharpening Rockstar line lately. Eric says, good line. Man, Eric has been telling me about the Rockstar. The Rockstar is the Sharpening glass stones, right? It's the same line, same as the G7. But he's been telling me about it, and he's a natural guy. He likes natural stones, and just the way he talks about them, I know he's going to say, well, I don't want to influence you. And, but when he does stuff like that, man, I almost want to have to, like, you almost have to try it. Performance-wise, they're just great. Okay, here I have the LV stone, La Vinette. Hope I'm saying that right. My good friend Eric, the Cajun Blade, can tell me if I'm saying that right or wrong. He knows better than I. Lathan, you're 14. And then Neiman says, thanks, sir. I've been honing for about 4 to 5 months and still getting better every time with each honing session. Here's the thing, Neiman. You're putting in the work in. You're putting in the reps. And that's all that matters. And you're going to get better. So, I'm sure you're getting really good edges right now. Sometimes you're going to have times where you're failing a little bit. Maybe you're a little upset of how your edges are looking, but it's just a phase. It gets better. Okay, I think that's good enough slurry amount. Rick, what's up, brother? Honing on cauticles again. Kyle G, you're going to get a cauticle out today. It's the best stone out there. Nothing beats it. It's my favorite stone. All right, so now I'm going to start my dilution process, working my way to water. Love the feel of this stone. I'm looking at undercut. How long does sharpening straight razor take? It all depends. If I'm using a natural stone like this one, I'm usually choosing it because I want to take my time, relax, and have a good time. Natural stones, unlike synthetic stones, which are the ones that are made by man, synthetic stones are incredibly consistent. They are incredibly fast. I can hone fast on a cauticle, probably faster than a synthetic. But right now I'm in relaxation mode. The thing about synthetics is they also don't feel as good as a natural does, the tactile feel. And so I really want to enjoy this. You know, I have my drink. I have you guys in chat. I'm enjoying the process. If I wanted just to go from point A to B and get a keen edge, I could go synthetic and probably do that in about, I don't know, 3-5 minutes. but I'm also not a proponent of honing fast. You guys know me, my channel. I do fast shaves, but I'm not a proponent of honing fast. You know, this is my zen time, my time to relax, not think about work, not think about anything else. It's just me, the stone, the razor, and I'm removing material. Kyle G says it depends. Rick says, where do I get to buy the best cuticle? The best cuticle, man. Now that's a tricky question, because once you buy your first cuticle, you're gonna keep buying more of them. No, but in all honesty, they're natural stones, so you never know what you're gonna get, really. But Ardennes Cauticles is the only company that mines these stones at the moment. So if you get a new cuticle, it's gonna be from Ardennes Cauticals, and their quality control is really good. If you do get a vintage cuticle from eBay, then you can get some really nice pieces. But they're all good, man. They're all good. I haven't found a bad cuticle. Kyle G says, Rick, where do you live? Okay. People buy straight from the quarry in the U.S. Griffith has a lot in stock, and you can contact Matt about them. Yes, Matt buys them from Ardennes Cauticals, and he resells them. He's a reseller, and that's where I bought mine. So that's where I buy my new ones. Exactly. The absolute best cuticle is the next cuticle. And to me, all cuticles are new to me. So if I buy a vintage cuticle, it's new to me. It's my new stone. It's my new baby. And man, I should have started the dilution process a little bit earlier. But when I'm honing and talking with you guys, I'm having a good time. I have my drink here right next to me. Sometimes I just don't look at what I'm doing. But you really can't overhone on this. On a synthetic, you can overhone, especially on those higher grits. And you can chip and damage the edge. With a natural, the abrasive action is so mild, it's so nice that, in my opinion, you really can't overhone. And maybe that's a stream idea for our next day. Just honing on a razor and trying to overhone it on a cuticle and see what happens. Maybe we'll do like an 8-hour stream or something. That's crazy. Rick says, OMG, I've got a pile of stones. Love every one of them. I gotta say, I don't love all my stones. There's definitely some that I like more than others. But that's kind of like a, yeah, I guess I love them. It's kind of like a parent. You know how parents say they love all their kids, and they do, but you know they have a favorite. So that's how it is for me. I love all my stones, but I definitely have favorites, you know. I'm liking this LV slurry. And the slurry, I feel like it feels different from slurry to slurry. Putting no pressure here. I'm getting close to the edge, trying to get a feel for what's happening underneath. And I feel like just by that alone, I can feel I need a little bit more work here. Lars says, hey, he's on the cuticle again. You know it. Best stone out there. If you have a cuticle, you don't need anything else. But yeah, you can really feel, put your finger really close right in there. Keith Johnson has talked about this. If you don't know who Keith Johnson is, he's a legend. But he's talked about this. That's where I picked it up. I'm not going to take credit. Put your finger right in there. Get close to the apex. And then go slow. Right there, I need some work. So we're going to give that some more work. Have we tried the Spyderco stones? I personally haven't tried them. The only stones I've tried is the Shapton Kuramaku, the Naniwa, and the King stones. But I have a friend called Martin Test Shaves. He has really good content. He has a Spyderco, I think, stone. And I think he likes it. I just don't know enough about I just don't know enough about Spyderco. Okay, I'm going to try to blend this all together now. Look on the undercut there. Hopefully, when this razor sells, the person who buys it can appreciate the edge. Because this is on eBay right now. So whoever gets it, hopefully they can appreciate this edge and they don't just completely just not try it out. Neiman says, my favorite synthetic stones are the Sohiro Gokumyo 20K and the Koseki 10K. Neiman, the 10K, man, I've heard so much things about it. And if I had the money, I would probably get that 10K. All right, dilution again. Because I'm looking at the undercut. The undercut kind of tells me where I am in the process. Lars says, I have the Spyderco UF. It didn't come completely flat. If you think a translucent arc is hard to lap, these are even worse. Ooh! I'm not even sure if my surgical black is flat, you know? Just because I've been lazy and lapping those things. You're better off buying one from Dan's, and they come mostly flat. Mine were flat, thank God. So they're really hard stones then. They're going to last you a lifetime, I would imagine. Right now, I would say we're like in the mid-range kind of work for this razor. Oh yeah, that's feeling nice. I'm putting no pressure here. See how the undercut is doing. No pressure, and the undercut is good. The tip here when I'm going forward, I could do a little bit more pressure. Oh, look who it is, guys. Friendship Shaving. I love his channel. You guys should check him out. So far, I have found that the razor passing the packing peanut tomato test on my cuticle is not sharp enough to shave with. Only 3 attempts on a new stone, though. Okay, that's a fair point, man. Cuticles are extremely stubborn, let's say. The basic principle for me, and I don't know if you're asking for advice, but since we're here and we're talking about it, we're chatting about it, is when you have a thick slurry, you're removing a lot of material a little bit faster. The condition of the apex is going to be coarser, just like you were in a coarser synthetic stone. The more you dilute, the keener it gets, the better that condition of the apex gets. Now you got to make sure you don't make the jump too early. And we got some guys here that have really good advice. Eric the Cajun Blade, really good advice on cuticles. For me, to get a super keen edge the way I like them on a cuticle, when I finish, I have to go on oil. And it can't be a thick oil, like mineral oil. At the beginning, when I started, I did mineral oil and it was okay. The only way I could suggest mineral oil is if it's a thin mineral oil. What that's going to do is it's going to put the blade above the stone and it's going to act as a buffer. But you don't want to have too much of a buffer that you're not going to be doing anything. So a thin mineral oil for about 100 to 150 passes does it for me usually. I'm not going to give you a number here because I don't believe in numbers. I don't subscribe to numbers. The razor is done when the razor is done. Tomato test, I really only use it for bevel setting. If I'm setting a bevel, I'll do the tomato test. But when I'm at the finishing, I feel like the packing peanut is a lot better, and that is just going in really easy, no pressure. Here on the heel, on the toe, I can see that it's not as keen. Well, let's take the initial. It went better the second time. Let's take the initial thing that we saw, and let's assume that the toe needs some work. So, put a little bit more of that here. Thanks, Sean. Good talk. Does dish soap do the same thing as mineral oil? Dish soap, for me, definitely helps. For me, it's way better than water. So here's one thing about me, my friend, is I know there's a big following of going from synthetic to conical, and I like that with an exception. I don't like going under running water because I can get my stone to stick under running water fairly easy. I mean, I can set a bevel on a 1K and go straight to a conical under running water, and that thing will stick. For me, the stickage of the razor on the conical is not a sign that the edge is ready. So going from a synthetic to a conical, for me, is viable with the exception that you do enough work. And one way of doing that is by using soapy water. I like doing 100, 200, 300 laps on the conical just to make sure I have that conical fingerprint. So for me, the way it goes is the best way for finishing goes like this. Water, or wait, water. Better than water is soapy water, and better than soapy water is an oil. Preferably a mineral oil or baby oil, something that is not as thick. I was reading the other day a old sharpening book. I think it was by, I don't know if it was Pike, but they were talking about how finishing on your natural stones on oil always gave the keenest edge and the most smooth edge as well. And they were saying in that book, and I have it on my phone, I can send it to you. And they were saying that honing on oil was a lot slower, but it produced the better edge. Penetrating oil is that, Eric, does that include, I think that includes 3-in-1, right? That's a penetrating oil, I can't remember. But for me, oil is the best, and then a good stropping. I do not sleep on my stropping when I'm using a conical because the conical kind of benefits from the conical benefits from the strop. They do have one, yes. And then Lars says, I can't seem to find those exact packing peanuts here in Canada. Been wanting to try them. Yeah, it has to, for me, the best packing peanut is this one. Kind of like the S-shaped packing peanut. The other one just isn't as good for me. I've been using stroppy stuff, honing on oil on conicals with success. Yeah, it seems like there's been like this resurgence of, what the frick was that? It's like a piece of hair. That's not mine. There's been like this resurgence or like new movement on conical because for so long the movement was go to your synthetic, go to your conical under running water, and yes, that will mild the edge. And that was the way of honing for a long while. And I think there's been like this new movement of let's go back to the old days, you know, the way these stones were actually used before. Like Romans would get really keen edges with these, and they didn't have synthetics back then. So it's not the stone, it's us. And to further talk about that point, when we look at the new stones that are coming from Ardennes conicals, that does not mean that they are new stones and they're bad. I mean, they're newly quarried, but they've been on the earth for years and years and years, you know? So that does not mean they are less valuable. Well, they are less valuable because if you can't get stones that are being quarried at the moment from mines, then they go up in price just because of the scarcity. But there does not mean that new conicals are worse than older ones. Do you use a different conical for your oil finishing or the same stone? Does the stone absorb the oil? For me, none of my stones absorb the oil. I've done that. I have changed to slower conicals, like my Ledra Sante, which is really good finisher. But usually if I have a conical, I like doing everything in one stone. So my Legris, for example, which Lagris gets a bad rep. I love honing on oil on that. I do like one stone honing, so, but you can do that if you have a caudicle that you know is a better finisher. Like those Letrasantes that I have, I don't do early work on them really. I only have them for finishing, so there's no right or wrong way. Just know your stones. Like I know some stones for me are better than others for different tasks. Like I have a stone that is really fast. I like that one for bevel setting and mid-range work, but that does not mean I can't finish on it. I have not, and Eric, the Cajun Blade, can talk about this. I have not found a caudicle that I haven't been able to get a good edge on. And that's why I've also said in some of my videos, like, if you guys have a stone that you think is not a razor honing stone, send it to me. I'll check it out for you guys. And when I'm done, I'll send you an edge or like a razor with an edge on that stone. And I don't even have to make a video on it. It could just be a private thing. My email is in my channel about section. So that's a thing that I've always said. Lars says, if your caudicle doesn't have any cracks, it doesn't absorb the oil. I agree. Donovan Dwyer, I hope I said that right, my friend. How long this dude been sharpening this? For real. For a while. Like I said, this is a natural stone. I'm enjoying talking with you guys. And you don't overhone on these stones. They're mild, you know. The garnets in this are very mild. And, hey, I appreciate that you're here. Some cauticles just need more time tricks to get them to work. Yep. And you know your stone better than anyone. So you use whatever stone you think will get you to the best results. What's up, brother? Sean G. This is my other half. This is my brother. He's the one that inspired me to do this live stream today, because he did a live stream yesterday. And I was like, damn, that was fun. And I feel like more of us should do this more often now, especially now that there's like the TikTok ban, or we have some refugees from other platforms. Let's get people to start loving these razors and honing and, yeah, refugees. Okay, I feel like I can dilute again. 60 viewers, nice. Heck yeah. I like having viewers, but the most important thing for me is just being able to chat with you guys here. It's like, I feel like I have a friend right next to me and we're chatting. So viewership is nice, but the nicest thing is just being able to talk with you guys. Yeah, we did have a good time, man. And over here in Puerto Rico, when I was watching your live and you were finishing, it was 2 in the morning, and I was with my eyes trying to keep them open. But I wasn't going to leave. Yes, sir, it was a good time. Sean, come on a trip. Rip on me about my gold dollar. Gold dollars. No, I'm not going to rip you because of gold dollars, because they do have their use. I just don't use them anymore. Just because of steel, man. Sometimes it's very inconsistent. And I have a good amount of good quality razors. So I don't really, excuse me. With the amount of razors that I have that are vintage, I don't really have a need to use a gold dollar. I was using them when I was starting in my honing journey and learning how to hone. And by the way, if I find a gold dollar, you know I'm going to hone it anyway. Just because it's fun. I love honing. But for me, I'm done with gold dollars if I don't have to deal with them. If they were the only razors out there in the market, then yeah, I would have them, because that's how much I love straight razor honing and shaving. But if I don't have to deal with them, I won't. And I'm not going to apologize about it, you know. There's some really good... and I hope I'm not ripping into you now. I'm not... Like, if I love looking at people shaving with gold dollars, just not for me anymore. But yeah, there's some really good artisans out there making some razors. Some companies are making really good razors. You know, I was looking at Boker Dovo, Tears of Sard. They're making really cool razors, and there's some artisans out there that are making really cool razors. SK Collins, Korat, River Razor. So, but everybody has a price they're willing to pay. Obviously, these custom razors are a little bit more expensive. So there's different things that come into play. For the price, I was going to say you can't beat a gold dollar, but you also have those vintage razors on eBay. And those are some of them, if you know what you're looking for. If you know what you're looking for, those are really good. But that's the caveat. If you're a beginner and you don't know what you're looking for, then you might buy a vintage razor and it can be all messed up. It can have a lot of issues. It's going to give you more headaches than it will give you satisfaction. And then you have to ask yourself, why are you doing this hobby? Are you doing this hobby for satisfaction, or what's your reasoning? Are you doing it for the shaving, or are you doing it for the whole experience, the honing, the shaving, the lathering? There's so many different aspects to it. I gotta go on the Cajun Blade website. Oh yeah, check out his Etsy, and he has something. Oh man, I'm gonna say it here just because he hasn't given me permission yet, but I'm gonna give you guys a sneak peek just for being here. A little birdie told me that the Cajun man has something planned, and I may or may not have already tried it, and I just gotta say it's amazing. Really, one of the best things he's produced. I've tried it. That's your sneak peek. I don't know what it is. Well, maybe I do, but I can't tell you what it is. Eric does a great job. Oh yeah. I feel like this razor is getting up there. Interesting indeed. Literally my favorite product that I have tried from Eric. Just because of how good it was. Okay, I'm diluting a little bit faster here because I'm getting really good undercut here. I'm almost on water. I can see a little bit trace of slurry still. But I'm getting really good undercut. And now it's all about refining. Now let's get rid of that and just go on water. And let's check the packing peanut real quick. All right. Drying off the razor. Have the packing peanut here. Man, that's going in super easy. And that's still, I haven't done my water passes. And my friend was here, Friendship Shaving. Awesome channel. You guys should check him out. But we were talking about this, and here we go. I like my soap passes. So I put a little bit of soap, a little bit of water, and I go to town. I go to town. This creates a slick surface. I'm going to slow down here, make sure I'm having good quality strokes because I'm on my finishing passes. For this razor, I'm going to finish on soap. I don't know if I answered this. I hope I didn't guide you the wrong way. But for me, I can get good cuticle edges that are shave ready. I can get BBS on water only. If I go on soap, the edge is even better. If I go on oil, it's even better. But I enjoy all three types of edges, not just the oil edges, not just the soap edges, but also the water only edges. For today, I'm going soap, just because I don't want to deal with the mess of oil. If I'm going to hone on oil, then I go to the sink or something like that. I get prepared because it's a little bit messier. This feels really nice, guys. Honing on a cuticle with soapy water. I'm going to put a little bit more water now because I'm feeling a little bit of dry down. All right. That feels really nice. Could I have honed this razor a lot quicker? Yes, I could. Did I want to? No, not really. Try to enjoy the process. I'm in my day off now, so try to enjoy the process. That stone looks like it would be nice to hone on. The best way I can describe this, Sean, is it almost feels like a JNat level 4.5. The way they have a little bit of give, tactile feel, but it has that velvety feel. I have Ledrasantes that are super hard. It's like honing on glass or on an Arkansas stone. Hard, hard, hard. But then I also have Lagrisses that kind of feel like I'm honing on bark because that surface texture is a little bit grainier. Oh yeah. That feels nice. And the undercut on the soap is feeling really nice. And I think I'm going to put my pressure really light. Okay. I think this razor is possibly done. Going to dry it off, check the packing peanut. If anything, if it needs a little bit more work, I could go on oil later off camera. But for now, I'm just going to have these 3 razors ready to go. Got the packing peanut here. All right, let's check it. Let's check over here. Could be better. Could be better. Feel like it was better before. So I'm using 2 hands now. This razor has a nice smile to it. I need to finish my Boker from yesterday. Heck yeah, you do. Here's an idea. Maybe you can do a... Okay, I did some hand stropping. I don't know. I feel like the hand stropping kind of messed it up a little bit because now it feels a lot better. Yeah. I call that done for now. on the Ekostuna Swedish steel razor. Like I said, whoever buys this from eBay, I hope they use it. But this is kind of like a farewell to this razor. And I might do some more work on it a little bit later. Hey, before we go and hone the next razor, I want to check here with you guys some, read some stuff. I don't know if I can zoom in, but we're at Badger and Blade. We're going to read some stuff here because I haven't been keeping up with what's going on. I'm just going to go what people are saying. So, okay. So we have Esherbet. It says good stuff. JPO. I'm a firm believer that's a great cuticle edge must look like crap. Yep. I'm also a firm believer that a great cuticle edge must look like crap because Lars says, oh boy. The heel did need some work. I don't know if you mean your heel or my heel, but my heel definitely needs some work. All right, so I am a firm believer that a great cuticle edge must look like crap, and I believe this as well. Put that there. The reason why, for me, a cuticle edge will look like crap is because to get a really basically a cuticle edge, for me, it has to be done in the early work. And that's just me. I just feel like the way the edge gets wavy. Careful for the moderators. They're going to ban me from my own YouTube channel. But I'm not going to say anything bad. I'm just going to read along. For me, the cuticle edge, the true cuticle edge, has that wavy edge to the apex. And you can only get that if you start early on in the process. If you finish on a few laps, you kind of do get a milder edge, but you don't really have the cuticle edge. You know, it's a milder edge. It's not the same edge. And let's see who liked this. Steve56 liked it. JPO. Darth Scandalous, which I've mentioned before, because he's been getting good success. And then Rick. JPO responded, everything looks strange up here under the northern lights. I need to walk my polar bear now. JPO is someone to look out for. Polar bear stuff. Okay, this guy's responding to JPO. JPO said, I just used WD-40 with the new lave net. After cleaning with a detergent, it was still beating a little water. After a quick lapping, it was back to normal. I do not like how oil felt with this cuticle, so I will continue to use it with just water or maybe some ONR. And ONR is kind of a blue liquid that JPO uses. I really can't say. I did message him. I need to look at the message again. B. Miller 3230 says, I do the same on my modern Lavinette, scrub with dish detergent, then scrub with a slurry stone or another cuticle after oil, then they are back. I don't use oil anymore. Sometimes I do shaving lather when I feel it's warranted. And this all depends, guys. If you want to use soap, use soap. If you have a cuticle that feels good on oil, use oil, you know. Not everything is set in stone. We want to be a part of a group and be like, oh yeah, we're the oil guys on cuticles. Well, you don't have to be. You can be the oil guy sometimes, and sometimes you can be the soap guy. Sometimes you can be the running water guy. It doesn't matter. I have been using cuticles almost exclusively for the past 2 months now. You really need to spend some time continuously with these without being distracted by other options, in my opinion. Yup. Completely agree with JPO here. When you go and try to learn a cuticle, don't get distracted. Just use the cuticle until you get it working. Tunnel vision, tunnel vision, tunnel vision, and you will get a good conical edge. This time, use the Lave Netstone after a 2K and 4K Naniwa. I've done that before. I really like it. It still gets that conical edge, especially if you do Dilicot and have a slurry there. I did one Dilicot starting with a good amount of slurry and less pressure than when I do a full bevel set. After shaving with a razor, these are just my thoughts. Ooh, let's see. Because I just said I've done this before and I like it. Number one, the dilutions run a lot quicker than when I started from the 2K. I did not have any conflicting feedback. The edge seemed to smooth out quite quickly. Yep, that's what I've also found out when using my 4K Hayabusa. I spent about 6 months with no other stone. You've been like years using these stones. Number two, it was a little easier to read the feedback from the stone because I have good contact and undercut from the start. I find this a little more challenging while doing a full Dilicot. Yep. Agree. The edge felt quite close to an edge built from the ground up with just a conical. There was still some synthetic feel to the edge, however, that might fade off a little after a few shaves. Yep, I am really happy with how this type of edge turned out. It's funny how sometimes you do stuff on your own and you don't talk about it with other people, and then you go on a forum and a guy like JPO, who's also been putting up the reps, also has similar results to you. Because we haven't talked about this at all, but he's had the same results, so that's quite interesting. And I believe that's the route I suggested to you. Yep. I mean, at first I was having trouble with these stones, but now I did what you said. I followed it to the T. I wasn't having progress at the beginning, and then I had some progress and just ride the wave out. He says, these new lava net stones are not better than other good conicals in my opinion. I agree with this, you know. The word new to us. These stones have been in the earth for years and years and years. They're quarrying them now. However, they are really easy to use and give really good traction resistance. If you're new to conicals, maybe the LV is something you are or should be looking into because they are incredibly consistent from what we can see people talking about in these forums. Some glassy hard stones can be really difficult to read for me. For me, like the Ledra Sante that I have here, they're like woodpecker lips. Sometimes they're hard to read, but I love them, but sometimes they're harder to read. I love my tactile feel. I am not sure what others have to say about these Ardennes Conicals new LV stones. I have two, and they are both quite similar. They are quite soft, so you do have less room to play with pressure if used at a one-stone solution. I would probably prefer to use a faster and harder stone to start off the work, but I don't need to. And this line right here, this is like what we've been trying to say for a long time. Eric, me, JPO. Again, we haven't talked about this. Maybe I have with Eric. But I would probably prefer to use a faster and harder stone to start off the work. Yeah, if you have a stone that you know is going to work good for a certain aspect, like your bevel setting or your medium range work, use that stone. Go ahead. Like, there's no right or wrong way of doing it. But he doesn't need to. So if he was in a deserted island, he does not need another conical to go from bevel set to finish to get the edges that he wants. He doesn't need another stone. He has the stone. His honing might be a little bit different. It might be a little bit more difficult. That does not mean he needs a new stone. Oh, this guy's replying to me. I haven't been using oil for about a month now, but I think it's time to go back. I honed a Friador SS on some entire progressions to try the Dr. Matt method again. I went from 5K to 10K. I made sure that wasn't a false edge during the 5K, stropped 30 times on linen, and looked at my scope. Performed 20 passes. Yeah, basically I did the Dr. Matt method and did not like the edge, and the edge was chipped. But when I was honing under running water, I thought that was the cause of the chipped edge because I thought that the sticking was a good sign before, but sometimes if you kind of force the sticking part and you keep going, it'll mess you up. It'll damage your edge. So when you feel it sticking, careful. Don't keep honing. Anyways, I went to my 3K Chaucera, set the bevel on medium slurry on the caudicle, dial the cut all the way, like I did now on video. And the edge was really good. Let's see what Empire Straight says. He says, I used to use really fine BBW slurry on hard cauticles sometimes. I like it. I like BBWs, though there is a lot of variation in them, and most are not very fine, but the fine ones are rock stars. I love them for both razors and knives, and would compare the good ones to a fine Rue du Somme. And I believe the Rue du Somme is the La Lorraine Stone. The La Lorraine Stone is quicker than the BBW, and it's finer than the BBW. And I have one right here, a La Lorraine Stone, and I really enjoy it. It's good for my razors. For a minute there, I didn't like the La Lorraine. I just didn't use it enough. Like most things, you got to use them to have a good opinion on them. Let's move away from here. Okay. Let's see what the chat is saying. Honing on running water can make and will make an edge fail. 100%, brother. 100%. Lars says, yeah, I don't like honing on running water either. On some cauticles, it takes the edge way back when it gets sticky. If you keep honing when it's sticking, it'll mess you up, man. That's the problem for me. Let's cover this up. That was a nice little break from the honing. And now I have this Japanese natural razor. Caudicle. And we're going with the LV stone. Interesting how JPO had similar results to me, man. And we've never talked about that. But that feels nice when someone has similar results to you and you're like, kind of that kind of confirms it for me. I think that's good. LV slurry. Gonna kill the edge here on the corner. And we're gonna keep going. This razor feels really nice. I don't know about you guys, but the bigger razors just feel better than the smaller razors. Like for me, a 8/8 razor just feels way better than a 5/8. Tip needs a little bit more work. I've been trying to move away from just doing X strokes. Usually, I focus on just doing X strokes. Lately, I've been trying to incorporate half strokes, circles, and not be too anal about are X strokes better than the half strokes. Man, shut the fuck up. As long as the razor is shaving, that's all that matters. Robert, my brother, how you doing? Man, today I'm gonna read, when I'm done here, probably gonna read some more Benjamin Ashwood. So good, man, so good. I love Amelie. Probably one of my favorite characters. I hope she doesn't die. Doing good, nice. I was inspired last night by Sean G, and so here I am. I just feel like it's really nice when we do these lives as a community. I just love chatting with you guys. And today's my day off. And look at all this swarf, Jesus Christ. Hello? So we're removing a lot of material there, because that's what that swarf is that gets embedded to the stone. Please, this is the second razor. I did a Swedish steel Ecostuna. I might do that later, some more on oil. I might finish all of these on oil later. But we're just going to go till running water here. Or not running water, soapy water. I hope Amelie doesn't die on the series. But when we were done with the first razor, we went to B&B and read some forum posts just to learn the ways of the armchair experts. Some good guys in the forum. But like always, shit floats, and you never know what you're going to get on forums. Anyways, some good guys on the forums. Let's just say that, just to stay positive. Oh, heck yeah. So what were you working on? You were working on scales for what? Like a small razor, big razor? Hopefully my second hand doesn't damage the view here. If you guys haven't checked out Robert's channel, he has some really good videos. I think he should keep making videos because he can go really far and he has a lot of experience. I feel like what he teaches has a lot of value. So definitely go check out No Name Bear. I like hearing this wispy sound I'm getting. Let me see what Robert said. Just over a 6/8 razor. I had a Philharmonica 14 that I didn't do a new scale job. I just repinned it because the pins were loose. Hell yeah, man. I just hope you keep making content because I really enjoy it, man. I'm not trying to be a little kiss up or anything. Just, I think you have a lot to offer. And you're obviously a knowledgeable guy. There were no scales with the razor? That's like a whole animal on its own, making your own scales. And for me, just recently, well, I sent you that razor. I sent you the stainless steel, which I hope you liked the edge. But that one didn't come with scales, so I bought the Dobo ones, the wood ones from the Superior Shave. And I pinned it, but I could have pinned it better. But I'm just starting to get better at pinning. I like this wispy sound a lot, and I like the steel on this razor a lot. Uh, Robert says, but the rust damage was very bad. Eric says, me too. Happy face. And then Robert says, you did a great job on the hone. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I can't remember if I went on the, I might have gone on the hybrid side as well. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I know I started on the Legris, but I'm not sure if I went to my hybrid. Greg Gallant says, just joining. What's the razor you're honing? I am honing a frameback, Japanese frameback. It says Rocket here, and then it has 1,000. I bought this from Eric, and he actually gave me a really good deal because I was looking at them on eBay, and he gave it for me for like half the price, which Eric is a good guy like that. Hope you're doing well, Greg. Today's my day off, so I'm just practicing some honing. I don't know if I'll make too many honing videos. I feel like you guys, Eric, Greg, Robert, JPO, you guys make such good honing videos. And the way you guys explain is so good that I just feel like doing these lives and talking with you guys, having a drink, which I need to refill soon. Let me check the packing peanut. I do have the packing peanut. Yeah, Swedish steel. But Swedish steel, I've heard. Yeah, this is Swedish steel, I believe. Hard steel. But I was running this one, which is a frame back before. And this one is Swedish. It has Swedish steel. It's a John Ergstrom. But the steel feels so soft. It's weird. Because I've heard the Swedish steel on this is really hard. This is way harder. So I don't know about this. If anyone has an idea what happened there, why that other razor had soft steel. All right. I have the Greg Gallant packing peanut. Okay. Heel needs work. And that's why Greg has great advice using these packing peanuts, because it's almost like a cheat code. I know everything there is doing okay. Back here, I know I'm not doing okay. And that's a fault of mine. Because the way I'm honing, that's a fault of mine. I got an Antonberg that was a dud, so it happens. Okay, so it's normal. Sometimes that does happen. Okay. I'm gonna work a little bit on the back of that razor. Hardness is mostly about the heat treatment. Okay. By the way, this is a less lat slurry stone. If you haven't already and you have cauticles and you like honing on cauticles, play with different slurry stones. You're going to have a fun time. Oh yeah, look at all that material being removed. Now I'm not putting pressure here on the... I'm just putting my finger there just to like guide it. Because that's what the razor needs work on. Typically, Swedish steel from both Sweden and Japan is typically heat treated to higher hardness than the Solingen and Sheffield razors. That's what I've heard, but for some reason that one might have been a dud. Eric says, I'm going to do a live after this. It will be a live ATV toe sledding. Dude, that looked like so much fun, the video you sent me, Eric. Okay, now I'm trying to blend the work I did on the heel with the rest of the razor with these X strokes. And the wispy sound here is orgasmic. Okay, X strokes. I wish there was a feature that when you finish a live, you can send your viewers to another live, like you can on some other services like Twitch. All right. Carlitos, hey Sean and everyone. Carlitos is from Puerto Rico, just like me. Great guy. You guys should check him out. He made a straight razor shaving video yesterday. And I think he used the new feature where you can do like your shorts for like 3 minutes now, which was interesting to see. Okay. JPO, we were just talking about you before. We were at the B&B forum looking at the thread, reading it together. And you said something, I didn't read it before, but we basically got to the same conclusion where you hone on the 2K, then the 4K to conical. It kind of still has a kind of synthetic feel, but after a few shaves, you feel like it's going to go away. But it was really easy to hone on. The undercut was easier to get. All of that are things that I've been doing on my own and been noticing, and then just reading what you said, it's like, huh, so maybe I'm not crazy. Or if I am crazy, at least I'm not the only crazy person out there that thinks this. So, just honing a Rocket Japanese Swedish steel razor, frame back. Colin Aubrey. Hey, Sean, I've got an old blade that used to be my grandfather's. What are some fundamental steps to get in shave-ready conditions? What stones do I need? Great content. Thank you, my friend. So, if you want a truly shave-ready edge, and that's a piece that has a lot of value, you treasure it, but you still want to get a shaving edge. If you're new to the hobby, my best advice to you is, for a cheap price, there's a lot of guys that do this professionally. I don't do this professionally, but on forums, there's a lot of guys that do it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because since it's such a treasure, you really don't want to damage it. And whenever you hone a new razor, you might be a good knife sharpener like I was, and you think you know everything. Just be careful is what I'm going to say. But for stones, there's different stones that you can use. I always recommend the synthetics stones for beginning because there's a lot of content out there, resources on them. They are incredibly fast, incredibly consistent. You will need a stone that is coarse enough to set a new bevel, because if that razor hasn't been touched in a while and you don't know what the edge condition is, you need a new bevel. I never trust the bevel from old razors or razors that I get unless they're from friends. So I would say a 1K stone for bevel setting. Yes, you can go with a 2K, 3K to bevel set, but in your case, I would go with a 1K just because sometimes guys that haven't been doing this for long underhone, especially on their bevel set, and your bevel set is your most important thing. The bevel is everything. And by the way, thank you for asking that question to me. So, and thank you for enjoying the live. I enjoyed doing these. And then you need a mid-range stone. You can go with I recommend the Hayabusa 4K. I really like it. And then a pre-finisher like an 8K. And you can shave with the 8K. You also have, there's so many routes you can take, man. Like, we can go on and on. You can go lapping film. You can go 8K to 12K. You could go 1K, 5K, 10K. Really, it's not set in stone. Mecha Shaving, let's go. You could use paste for finishing as well on a strop. There's so many things you can do. You can get a conical, and then I've seen guys that do their early work, mid-range work, and then when they finish on water, they go to a pasted strop, and they get a keen edge like that, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, these stones, they're made for that, so. So there's many routes you can take, but if it's a piece that you treasure, it's your grandfather's razor, you're really not gonna go wrong if you send it to someone to hone it for you professionally. I recommend Greg Gallant, but he usually sharpens razors for guys on the Reddit, so I don't know if he takes honing jobs. But he's a great guy, great resource, great friend of mine. So, getting close here to the finishing passes. Carlito says, crazy that in the past, all it was used was a barber's hone and a strop. Yeah. I haven't gotten a barber's hone, actually, but I don't know if there's many good barber hones out there anymore. I know when their razor got really dull, they would send them back to the grinder, and the grinder would set a new bevel, and then they could go on a pasted strop for a really long time. Wow, that wispy. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's a wispy sound. All right, I'm going to go on water now. Just feel like it. It's going to do good. Just water now. Greg Gallant says, Sean, a different view on grandfather's razor. The first thing to do is assess the edge condition for geometry conditions, for warping, and for wear. Once condition is good, you can hone. Yep. And see, this is why I recommend you, if you're new to honing a piece like that has hold value, and you've never done it before, I would seek someone out like Greg Gallant, or any professional honer that you want. I just think Greg Gallant takes some razors to hone from clients, but I'm not sure if it's only Reddit guys. I don't want to mention him and him not actually doing it, but I think he does. A guy like Greg Gallant will not mess that piece up, you know. I see some swarf here, and this is just on water. Robert, if it has rust, you want to stop it. So the sooner you can get a pro to restore, as soon as you can. Yep. That's what I recommend. Because I know, even me when I started, the first 5 months, Greg says, not just the Reddit guys, but beware, I'm a knife sharpener. Advice from forum is to never send a razor to a knife sharpener. The straight razor forums. Okay, I'm going to see if we get any darkening here on the water only. This might be a fat, yeah. This is a fast stone. I can already see some darkness here on the water. But if you're asking me, that's who I recommend. I recommend Greg Gallant. Because I've seen his videos, I've seen him talk, I've seen him hone, I've seen him shave. He doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. So, if you're asking me, that's who I recommend. I would not, if I'm a beginner, I've never done it before. First of all, it's going to be more expensive to buy all the equipment you need to hone it if it's in bad conditions. If it needs restoring, you're most likely going to mess it up if you've never done it before. And it's cheaper to just send it to home professionally, and then it's easier to learn how to keep that edge keen and sharp. So, yeah, this is a quick stone on water. Look at that. Let me read the chat real quick. So, am I Greg? Getting a razor honed by someone that knows what he's doing also helped my own honing a lot in the beginning since I had something to compare it to. Exactly. You guys can't be trusted. I beg to differ. You guys can be trusted. Thanks for the advice. I wouldn't mind putting the work in for honing, but I'll definitely consider seeking professional work if it's that important. With that razor, I think it's important. If it's a treasured piece, if it's a razor you bought, it doesn't have any sentimental value, by all means, get the equipment you need. There's different routes that you can take. But if it's a treasured piece, I would get it honed professionally. I haven't seen the razor, so I don't know what it needs. Maybe it needs restoration. But for sure, I'm not going to shy away. If you do have a razor that isn't valuable to you, my recommendation is buy the stones, buy the equipment, and go for it, you know? In this hobby, you learn by doing, not by reading forums and thinking you know everything when you never actually done it before. It's like a guy that reads on how to drive a car, but he's never driven a car, and he sends it and crashes it. I don't know. Can't trust us with your whiskey or your ladies. Yep. All right, I want to check the packing peanut here. And when I check the packing peanut, I don't strap or anything. Maybe I should. I don't know if you guys strap or anything. I have a little paddle strap here that maybe I can use. Stephen Davidson, guys. I'm not going to do much here. About 4. And 4 on that side, just for the heck of it. Hope you're doing well. How you liking that Norton 8K? Okay. Use a hanging strap between stones. I like using it especially for like the early work. I don't want to have a false edge, or I don't want to have a burr or something. Since I'm using a caudicle and doing dilicot, I haven't used it because I'm doing a 1-stone hone. But I agree with you, my friend. But I don't do too much. I'm going to go backwards here a little bit just to ensure I have my LV stone here. Catch the replay. Time to get back to work. See you, brother. Hope you have a good one. Thanks for stopping by, Carlito. We need to do that podcast we were talking about. You guys should check out Carlitos. He's a fellow Puerto Rican. His content is mostly Spanish, though, but You guys gotta learn some Spanish with me. And then, así podemos hablar en español. No tenemos que hablar inglés. Y nada. Yo sé inglés y hablo inglés con ustedes y ustedes pueden hablar español conmigo. Vamos a unirnos. No vamos a separarnos. All right, that's it for me. No more Spanish for now. But those of you that didn't know, I speak Spanish. Probably obvious with the my little accent. So I might have gone backwards there with the slurry a little bit. I just want to ensure everything's tip-top shape, how I want it. Nice wispy sound, nice tactile feel. This slurry feels different from the less lat slurry. It's cold as shit here. How's the temperature over there? I used to be able to speak Spanish. Can't now, I forgot. Yes, I can write as well. And I'm learning a little bit of Japanese now. A little bit. So, ohayo gozaimasu. Konbanwa. $15 degrees. What the heck? Eric was having some fun in the snow. Okay, gonna do another dilution just because I feel like these are going pretty fast. Did it show where he lives or did he go to the snow? Eric? No, he sent me a video. It was snowing in Louisiana. He was having fun with the kids. Robert, have you thought about making a shaving video ever? Or, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but have you thought about that? Yeah, it gets pretty cold in Louisiana. Colin says, I do have a second razor that isn't really sentimental. I could try to work that one on some stones to get experience first. I would like to start honing and straight razor shaving. Hell yeah, man. That's what you got to do. You got to use that razor to learn how to hone and then go to that other razor that has sentimental value. 51 over there, that's pretty cold. Over here, it's like 90, which is really nice. It's always summer in Puerto Rico. Yeah, start with that razor first, and then go to the other razor once you feel confident. That's my. You do what you want, my friend, but that's my. From the bottom of my heart, I feel like that's gonna get you no headaches at all. 90 is too hot for me. I would melt. Nah, you'd be good. You just hop on the beach. Hop in the water. Yeah, this is pretty fast stone. Look how that swarf gets dark. Doing a quick stropping here. Let's check the packing peanut. That was a quick stropping right there. All right, I feel like I can go on oil later and get that even further refined. So I'm gonna call that good. Devin Jackson, Unknown Stone, another great resource. You guys should check him out. I do the same thing, Devin. I hope I can say your name here. I know you were keeping it secret for a while, but I think the cat is out of the hat now. We all know it's you. I do the same thing when I'm at work. I put the earbuds on and forget about it. I listen to most of the guys here on the space. There's just so much content that you have to watch from the guys. Well, you don't have to, but I like to. I urge you to learn straight razor shaving and honing as separate activities first. Merge them after you are comfortable straight razor shaving, in my opinion. I think the same way. All right, now we're going to this Sartina razor, 5/8 Solingen. This had a Jasper edge. Those two other razors have been honed to a point. Now I just need to go on oil and get them even better. But we got them to the point that we wanted. So I'm using, for this one, instead of starting with the less lat slurry, let's just start with the Lavinette slurry. So putting some water here on the stone. This one, I'm not going to kill the edge. I'm just going to refresh it. And I think this is what I would do if I were to refresh, about this amount. About that amount for a refresh. Let's see where that lands me. Yeah, it has been quite sunny here today. The cold is not that bad that way. The Jasper edge, it lasts a long time, but I just decided to, decided to change it. It's like Sean said, Sean G. The Jasper edge is good, but Conical, Janat edge, and Arkansas edge, they're just superior in my opinion. And Solingen razors are just really nice. They feel really nice. Colin says, I'm actually decently confident in shaving. I normally DE shave, and I've used a Chevette multiple times, and I'm familiar with the technique. I'm just interested in honing now with real straight razors. I started with Chevettes as well. So my shaving technique was better than my honing technique. Way better. And then I decided to learn how to hone and shave at the same time. I will say the Chevette DE blades gave me a really keen edge, so my shaving, I was really delicate. When I started to hone my own razors and they didn't really have a good bevel set, they would tug. I started to use a lot more force, and when I went back to a Chevette, I was used to using more force because my razor edges weren't that good, and I cut myself a lot. So just, you gotta make sure you know what a good straight razor edge feels like. Well, you don't have to, that's just my opinion. But since we're here, just chatting, kicking the shit, I would prefer if I knew what a good straight razor edge was before going in. Robert says, there is nothing like it when you get a good edge on a real straight razor. I gotta admit, yeah, there's nothing like it, especially when you do it yourself. It's like, I don't know, you just went through all that trouble. There's something like primal about it in a way. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, sounds like the bevel. It really is the most important thing. Without a bevel, you don't have anything. You need a foundation to build your house upon. And with a straight razor edge, it's the same thing. You need a good foundation for your edge to build upon that. In my opinion, I spend more time in my bevel setting and mid-range work than I do on my finishing. One common mistake I feel like beginners make is they're thinking of, I need this high grit stone to get a really keen edge, when in reality, you can get a working edge that is really keen, but you need to spend more time on your earlier stones, your coarser stones, and get everything down the way you want it. I spend very little time on my finishing stones. If they're a natural, I might spend a little bit more time, but if it's a synthetic, I don't do more than 20 to 25 laps on my 10K Naniwa. But that's all it needs if my mid-range work was done properly. Robert says, I started with a Japanese Kamisori. Those are also a really big rabbit hole. Yeah, it really does make or break the honing session. Robert says, another thing I see is people getting hung up on counting laps and not learning to evaluate the razor. Yeah, I agree. When you're starting out, though, I do think counting laps is good in a sense that it doesn't mean that you do 30 laps and you're done. The way you should look at it, in my opinion, if you're counting laps, is I'm going to give myself a minimum. So maybe the minimum is 30 laps. And then I'm going to evaluate the razor. And then when you evaluate the razor, if you see that there's progress being made or that there's nothing more that the stone can offer, then you move on. But if you do your minimum 30 laps and you haven't gotten anywhere, then do 30 more. So it's like a minimum. Like, I'm not going to say that counting laps is completely bad, but the thing that is bad is counting laps and never really learning how to evaluate the razor for yourself and how the edge is progressing. Robert says, nothing wrong with laps as long as you understand what kind of progress you are making. Exactly. I agree 100%. Colin Aubrey says, how do you evaluate? Cut paper, as I saw you were cutting into a packing nut earlier. Yeah, I like the packing peanut because there's different ways you can do it. For bevel setting, there's also the tomato test you can use. But I only like that one for bevel setting because it only tells you that you have a bevel. It doesn't really tell you if you're progressing. The packing peanut, you can actually feel how easy it cuts into the peanut. So the easier it cuts, the keener you are. So there's like a 1 to 10. So like 1 being not keen and 10 being super keen. You can actually tell with a packing peanut, okay, I'm at level 4. Or I'm at level 6, and then when you switch stone, if you go backwards, you're like, okay, so I'm going backwards now. Something happened. So it kind of gives you a tell. It's kind of like a cheat code. But I also evaluate looking at the slurry. If I'm getting undercut, how it feels. One thing I was talking about earlier, I use a count, and I use it as my minimum. Exactly. I agree with Eric. I do not have a max. Exactly, because the work is done when the work is done, you know? One thing I do to get a feel of how the edge condition is on the stone is, and this was not invented by me. This was actually Keith Johnson that said it on his videos. He gets really close in there. So some guys hone way back here and they do their laps. Get right in there, really close to the edge, and feel what's happening on the stone. Sometimes it's hard to explain what you're feeling. It's one of those things you just got to do. And anyone can do it. You just got to do it. Eventually it will click. Like I could tell this part of the razor needed a little bit more work. So now I'm hitting it a little bit more. And now I'm basically on water. I want to go a little bit backwards now. I know I'm going to go a little bit backwards now. Greg Gallant says, Robert, you can push cut thin paper, rolling paper with a razor and not damage the edge. Slice cutting something like a newsprint can dull the edge. And the reason why I like the packing peanut is like you're not slice cutting. You're putting it there close to the edge or in the packing peanut, and you're checking if it digs in. When you're doing a slicing motion, it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of cheating. We own a family restaurant and we do a lot of cooking and vegetable work. The knife is designed to be more efficient when it's slicing. So sometimes you see guys get a really good slice cut, but that doesn't mean it's gonna perform the same way as a packing peanut if you're just push cutting. Just a little bit of slurry here. With cauticles, I do kind of a similar thing. I give myself a minimum, and this was taught to me by Eric, the Cajun Blade. Give yourself a minimum. If you have undercut, you can dilute slowly. Don't dilute like crazy fast. Dilute slowly. If it happens that you do your minimum passes and you don't have undercut, do the same minimum passes again until you get undercut. And then evaluate if the edge condition and the telltale signs are in your favor, and then dilute again. So I did a dilution there. Colin says, what's the smaller stone you keep rubbing on the large one? That creates a slurry that helps with the honing. Yeah, so this is a caudicle stone. This is a Belgian caudicle stone. And this is also a Belgian caudicle stone, but this is a slurry stone. That's what they call these little pieces. And you rub it in here because this, you see this yellow thing? That's like a clay binder. And inside that clay binder, you have garnets. Garnets is what removes material from this. So those garnets are in that little clay mixture that you see, that we call slurry. The garnets in this, as opposed to different honing systems, and that's why these are so unique, because these are natural stones. The garnet in this does not break down. There is a little bit of breaking down. It's so minimal, so it kind of just like shaves the top off the garnets. But that's why we say the garnets don't break down. It's kind of like a rounded thing, so it's very mild. But since they don't break down, the more slurry that you have, the more material that you're going to be removing from your razor. And that's why you see me putting water here, because I'm going from a coarser grit abrasive action into a smoother, more refined abrasive action. Obviously, and then the water passes are the most that you're going to get off your stone. But some guys go even further and they use oil, because then the oil acts as a barrier between the stone and the razor, and it kind of lifts it up a little bit more, and it gives you a nicer edge. So I'm prepping all these on water for then when I'm off the stream, I can go on oil and refine it even further. Some of these stones actually auto slurry, and what that means is just by you doing the normal strokes, you're going to get some garnets that are going to go off. So sometimes it's a good practice to like rinse it every 25 laps or something like that. But in my case, I don't really care, because I know this stone and I can get a good edge off this stone without doing that. Atomic 2998 says, Sean, lick that caudicle. I feel like one of those TikTok bots. I'm getting a really nice wispy sound here. And this what I'm doing right now is edge leading. So I'm leading with the edge forward. I'm not putting any pressure with this other hand, I'm just guiding it. And I go from having a little bit more pressure, a little bit more torque, to, since I'm finishing, reducing pressure, reducing torque. So let's get the little strap here real quick. Stropping really quick with this paddle strap that I have. I prefer the hanging strap. I feel like it gives better control. But for the stones and just being here, this works. Here's the packing peanut. That's done. That is done. So all three razors are done. Colin says cauticles don't have the set grit, so it's the slurry and its concentration that controls the aggression of the hone. Yeah, they don't have a grit. Eric says, later guys have to go pull the grandkids in the snow again. No rest for the wicked. Man, that looks like fun. I know you're having a blast with your grandkids. Yeah, cauticles are natural stones. They don't have a set grit. The way I like to look at it, I don't like saying, well, you're around 1K grit, or you're around 2K grit. I like saying, well, you're in your coarse phase, and you're removing a lot of material. See you, Greg. You guys got to make some content. I'm getting bored. I need more content out there, guys, to watch. So I like saying, yeah, it's completely different from synthetic honing. When you go into a caudicle, go with it and with a different mindset, because you're just gonna have a hard time if you try to look at it the same way. My suggestion is look at it this way. When you have a lot of slurry, look at it like, okay, I'm in my coarse phase. I'm removing a lot of material. I'm setting a bevel. When you're diluting down, look at it like, okay, I'm in my mid-range now. I have a thinner slurry, kind of milk thinner. I'm doing my mid-range work. And then when you're on water or like misty slurry, look at it like you're finishing. And don't look at it like I'm around 8K grit, 9K grit, because they're naturals. One day they might act a certain way, and then another day they might act a different way. You never know. They're so unpredictable. Trying to think like you're going to know the stone, is a wrong way of looking at it, in my opinion. You can work with the stone, but the stone, it's incredibly, incredibly, what's the word? Stubborn. Does it hone faster or easier on cauticles? How different is the edge from the cauticle hone? So, in my opinion, if I wanted to, and if I wasn't doing a live stream, I can actually hone faster on a cauticle just because I don't have to switch around stones so much. In it by itself, if I had a really coarse slurry on a cauticle and a 1K grit, let's say equivalent, somewhere in the equivalent range, the synthetic is going to be faster on the 1-to-1. Synthetics, there's no doubt about it. They're incredibly consistent. They're incredibly fast. But then you have to go to your, you go from your 1K, you might go to your 5K, and then you go to your 8K, and then you go to your 12K. So switching all those stones kind of slows down the process. With a cauticle, I don't know, I think in like 5 minutes I can have an edge. And maybe with a synthetic, someone can do the same. So it all depends on the proficiency of the honer. Let's just put it that way, because I've seen some pretty quick synthetic honers. When it comes to the edge condition, for me, getting a cauticle edge earlier on in the process creates a milder edge. I got Lars here says, I just brought out a Cotty. Watching you is contagious. Yeah, man, it is. It's a good time, though. And then Barav says, hey, Sean. Hey, brother. So we're talking about, guys that just joined, we're talking about the synthetic feel compared to a synthetic to a cauticle. The cauticle is a lot milder. The abrasive in it removes steel in a very mild manner. And so that's why you basically, in my opinion, you can't overhone on a cauticle. I've never seen it. You can't overhone on those high grit synthetics because they are so aggressive. The edge on a synthetic can feel, it can irritate you. It can feel a little harsh. That also depends on the proficiency of the shaver. So if you're shaving the correct way, the synthetic edge, in my opinion, won't feel harsh. The thing with the synthetic edge, it'll tell you like that. If you have bad shaving technique, it'll tell you like that. The cauticle is more forgiving, but it can be also they can get you similar places. Like keenness wise, I can get BBS with a cauticle. I can get BBS with a synthetic. But 9 out of 10 times, I will prefer the cauticle just because it has more character, and I'm shaving to enjoy the shave. I'm not shaving to say I have the keenest edge or I have the most comfortable edge. Yes, most of the time the cauticle is more comfortable. All right, guys, I want to show you guys here. This is a forum that I frequent called Badger and Blade. I'm just reading some stuff and sharing it with you guys. Maybe we can talk about things that we see here together. I'll read along with you guys. Colin Aubrey says, cauticles seem to require a high skill ceiling to have consistent hones. Yeah, no, depends on the person and how much time they want to invest in it. So I have my buddy Robert. He's been doing this for like half a year, and he started on cauticles, and he's been really successful at it. He actually has more success on cauticles than on synthetics. But since he started on cauticles, he only got information from one person. He followed that, and he got the results that he got. The problem is when you try to combine processes and different advice. So if you go to the forum and you ask a question, you'll get 100 different answers. It depends on the cauticle as well, yeah. I will say I haven't used a cauticle that didn't give me a shaving edge, but they do have things that they are better for. So some of them are better for setting the bevel and mid-range work. Some of them excel at finishing. Straight razor honing on a budget. Oh, this is interesting because you were thinking of getting some stones. So Blade Runner 37C from Badger and Blade says, Okay, I've been told all my stones won't work for a straight razor. Okay, that might be true. I'm on a budget and have an older Joseph Rogers and Sons, so that might be a vintage razor that I was told the blade is worth honing. Okay, so the razor is dull. Remember, I'm on a budget and would like to try out this razor before looking into newer ones. I have a birthday coming up. Okay, how much money do you have? I have a flattening stones. Sharp pebble. Ooh, I had those same sharp pebbles. No good, no bueno. 400, 100, 3,800 combination whetstones. I was told they were junk. You were told correct. Norton India two-sided oil stones, coarse and fine. Okay, Norton India, good for sharpening knives. For razors, kind of outdated. I think they were used before, but kind of outdated. There's better options now. Arkansas stones of all ratings except for translucent. Okay, do you have a surgical black? I did get a hold of a large surgical black stone. Okay, you answered my question. Which is much more like glass than other true hard Arkansas stones. Like glass sounds pretty right about a surgical black. But I have heard people enjoy the translucent a little bit better. At least, not the edge that it produces, because I've heard the edge is the same, but the honing is different. It feels different. So several soft, several hard, one true hard, and a giant surgical black that Dan's shows finer than translucent. That depends on stone to stone. So there might be a translucent that might be finer than a surgical black. It's a natural stone, and the way they're rated for their fineness is different. I think it has to do something with the density. So I have a DMT Dia Sharp set, 120 microns, coarse, fine, extra fine. Okay, so this is useful because this might serve him as a flattening stone. The DMT. And a wicked edge sharpening system with every grit they offered, ceramic stones, leather straps, etc. So, okay, so you have a leather strap. That's good. Is there nothing in the toolbox other than a surgical black Arkansas to finish other than an Aniwa 12K stone? What on the cheap is the least I can get buy on if I have to buy something? Really on a budget and still need a strap. Mine is a cheap one. Okay. So right off the bat, let's see. He has the surgical black. I don't understand if he has... So he has a Naniwa 12K stone, and that's perfect because he can go from the 12K stone to the surgical black. And he has the DMT Dia Sharp lapping plate. He could set a bevel on the Norton India on the fine, I would say. The coarse is too... I wouldn't even use the Norton or the Sharp Pebble. I know he has the finisher stones, and he has the flatting stones. So he needs something to set a bevel and something to do his mid-range work. So let me move some stuff around here. So let's go to sharpening supplies. If I was him, I would forget about these combination stones. But if he wanted to do that, he could get by with a 3K, 8K for 80 bucks. And that way he can set the bevel on the 3K. If he needs to remove more material, he can use a slurry on it. I think there are better options though. Yeah, these are pretty expensive. Huh. Yeah. So let's check Amazon. So, Naniwa Arata is a line I really like. And let's see. The 1,000 is 32 bucks. You know, he could go... There's so many routes he can take. He could go with a Hayabusa, is 38 bucks. It's a fairly fast stone, especially if he uses slurry. He can set a bevel on a 4K, in my opinion. Razors are like different than knives. They sharpen pretty quick. So he could use this. So he already has $38. And then Fuji, Naniwa. Because they go really well together. $65 for the Fuji 8K. So for $100, you basically have your bevel set. You need to get a ortho linear keyboard. I have a really expensive keyboard, and then I bought this one for gaming. And I actually enjoy this cheaper one. But yeah, there's a Fuji there for $100. And I've heard you can even shave off the 8K here from the Fuji. Keith Johnson says he got really good smooth shaves, and that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably get the 8K. Because the stone I use the most is the 4K Haya for my bevel setting. I set all my bevels on the 4K if I'm using a synthetic. Like I said, they're incredibly fast. And there's this article by... there's this article by Science of Sharp. What was it? The Honing Progression. And he has really good microscope shots. But at the end, if you see it, let me see where it says it. It says the convexity near the apex is removed by the 4K level, and the measured geometry is unchanged with higher grits beyond the 4K. So the convexity on your razor, but after the 4K level, which is 3 microns, it's not going to change. The geometry is going to stay the same. Like, basically, think about it like this way. The most sharp you're going to get your razor is going to be on the 4K level. Anything beyond that, or, well, 4K, let's say 3 micron, because 4K can be different from manufacturer to manufacturer. So from the 3 micron range, your sharpening is done. That's like what you want to max out. Make sure after your 3K, you got everything set. Beyond the 4K level, the bevel polish is refined and the edge width is reduced from 0.3 microns to about 0.1 microns. So, like he says here, sharpness is achieved during the bevel setting stage up to the 4K grit. Think about it that way. And then beyond the 4K grit, keenness improves, but sharpness is not improved further. So, yeah, this is a really good post, Robert. Hey, Sean, I just checked and I've got a 1K, 8K, and 12K. Should I pick up a 5K for mid-range stone? Obviously, not going from 1 to 8K. Aubrey, I'm guessing that's Naniwa, right? Because if you have the 12K, that might be Naniwa. But yeah, a 5K from Naniwa is around 3 micron, but the Hayabusa is like a better stone in my opinion. The performance is just crazy. Barev says, Cauticles are so different. The one I use replaced my 5K synthetic and also use its slurry on next stage on JNet. I can say I like the results, but probably will search more finished level cauticle. Yeah, the cauticles are so versatile, but so are synthetics, man. Like, I really don't want to be a guy sitting here just talking shit about synthetics or JNets, or they all have their place. What I do have a problem is when I go into a forum and someone tells me I'm doing things wrong, or just because I tell my opinion, they get all upset. We're all different, and we live in a free country. We all have a right to have different opinions, and we all have different ways of looking at things. All right, but yeah, I would go, and also I like to jump from like, because once you have a bevel set and you need to refresh, you probably don't need to go to 1K anymore. But if you want to reset your sharpness, the 4K is like the perfect place to go. So that way you don't remove material that doesn't need to be removed, and you have maxed out at the sharpness level. And 4 to 8K, I think, is a really good jump, especially with the Hayabusa, because the Hayabusa gives, in my opinion, and the opinion of other people, gives a better polish than the 5K. Even the Arata, which is like the neutral Serra. Okay, back to the thread, because I'm curious to see what other people say here. Okay, it says, Legion. If it is a real surgical black, okay, there's doubt if it's a real surgical black, because this is also a thing. No hate on Legion yet. I don't hate Legion, But this is a thing we see on forums. My stone is the best. My surgical black is a better finisher because of this and that. so so there's already doubt in this, which could be fair, and not one from the pretender stones that are around the place. So my understanding is those ones that are around the place are still found in the same place Dan's get his, but they're not the same quality. So they might have some blemishes, some aesthetic problems. Let's see what Robert, as long as your opinion aligns with mine. I think our opinion aligns pretty often. Oh, they are Shapton stones. Shapton stones are great stones. If you're using Shapton stones, this is what I recommend. I'm going to go to Sharpening Supplies really quick. I think this is... right now, they have a really good deal. And I'm thinking of getting it. The 4K grit Shapton is at $49, $50. So you said you have the 1K. They don't have a 5K, but the jump from 1K, 4K Shapton glass to your 8K, I really like those type of jumps. So I like going in, for example, 5K to 10K or 4K to 8K or 3K to 6K. But this 4K is going to give you a really good bevel set. And these Shaptons are actually quicker than the Naniwa. So you're going to get a bevel set even quicker with a 4K from Shapton. These stones, performance-wise, the Shapton Rockstars, which are the same as the glass stones, incredibly good stones. I'm thinking of getting this, actually. But the Hayabusa is... I'm not sure which one is better, the Rockstar 4K or the Hayabusa. I think the Hayabusa might, performance-wise, polish-wise, might be better. But that's a good... The Shapton Rockstar? Hell yeah. There are surgical blacks sold that are not even Novaculite, unfortunately. Yeah. On Amazon especially, I feel like. That might be all you need to maintain a shave-ready edge, other than a strop. Yeah, if you have a real surgical black, that might be all you need. He did say he has a 12K Naniwa. He says, send the razor to someone competent who already has gear and pay them to make it shave-ready. That is your cheapest option that will get you shaving for a good long while. Yeah. Then this was what we were telling you about before, but in your case, you want to learn how to hone. So this does not apply to you. It only applies to you, in my opinion, with that razor that you had, that is your grandfather's. That stone, I would be careful and take really good care of it because it's a treasure. Okay, the original post says, yes, it really is. I bought it straight from Dan's. Was on a wait list for it. It's an 8x3x1. Wow, that's really big. It wasn't cheap. I'm up for suggestions. I had someone offer, but I needed to have a strap bought already, and an heirloom was out at that time. Try them again for a beginner strap. Just the most basic model they sell will be more than enough. There is no point getting a razor honed if you can't strap it. Well, some people don't believe in stropping, so that's not really true. I do believe in stropping. The stropping for me is detrimental, but I've seen some Italian guys, they do their honing and then they strap on their palm of their hand, and that's it. They don't have a strap. I can jump from the 3K Naniwa Pro to the 10K Errata. The 10K Errata is a bit faster than some other 10K stones, however. And the feel of the Errata, the Neutral Serra, oh, so good, brother. The stones are specifically Shapton Kuramako stones. Okay, so you have the ceramic ones. Those are the ones I started with. And yeah, the Shapton Glass 4K will work really good for you. Especially that 4K, because it's like you're at the end of your sharpening process. So you can't really, in my opinion, you're not going to overhone at the 4K level that you're going to have problems with your edge your apex quality. You might remove more material than you have to, but I don't think you will with those. The Sharpening Rockstar 4K. It's incredibly fast, incredibly consistent, top performer, and it goes well with the Sharpening line. It's a 3 micron, so make sure you max out on that 4K and then do your jump to your 8K. On your 8K, if you did your work correctly on your 4K Shapton, if you do end up getting it, you're not going to need more than 20 to 25 laps, in my opinion. And Keith Johnson has talked about this, but if you go to your 8K and you see a lot of lines, gray lines like railroad tracks, you need to go back because you did not do enough work. Lars says, yeah, that 10K errata is nice for knives too. It doesn't leave the best polish, however, if that's what you're after. True, true. Yes, I am in the U.S. I can't post on the best buy-sell trade forum. I'd probably advise against getting the nicest strop right out of the gate. Great advice by Legion here. You're gonna mess up your strop, your first hanging strop, your first, and even then, if you might be doing this for a year, you might get the occasional nick on your strop. Most of us wrecked our first strop learning. Yes, I'm included in that. Get a basic strop that is not too expensive, but of good quality. Then splash out of a fancy one when you trust yourself. Never trust myself with a strop. Okay, they're talking about strops, Duke City. Okay, we got another knife sharpener here. I will say I've been sharpening knives for a long time and have peeled some strops back with knives before. I learned how to use them. I don't know if that carries over for safety razors. It would seem like stropping would be easier with a safety razor than, say, a Kabar. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't like comparing knife sharpening and knife work with razor stuff. It's just different. I would think you should be able to get a job done with your Kansas stones, assuming the edge is not terrible. True. King synthetic stones are very cheap and very good for straight razors. Yeah, they can be. But they're not that cheap when you look at them in price. Some others you can get better performers out there. Like, let me see. King 1000 whetstone. Okay, so it was $32, now it's 25. Yeah, let's go with that. The King 1000, $25. Naniwa Arata 1000, $32 or 33. So for $8 more, you're getting a splash and go for one. You're getting the top of the line bevel setter, which is the Chosera Arata, same thing. And it's only $8 more, and it's a splash and go. You're gonna have a better performance out of them, better polish. So I know we've heard people say King stones are extremely cheap. Well, for bevel setting, maybe not so much. Yeah, I would. Exactly. Like Devin says, be careful with cheap Amazon stones. Like this guy said, like these sharp pebbles that he mentioned, horrible. Like that's what I used to have. I mean, if that's what you got and that's what you want to do, by all means, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I wouldn't use a sharp pebble on any razor, not even on a gold dollar. Imagine that. But yeah, King stones, they're outdated in my opinion, and they're not that cheap like people say. Robert says, I'm going to be AFK, but listening, I am going to be busy cutting my dad's hair. Lars says, I've had a 1K Chosera for at least 15 years. It's great. Yeah, they last a long time. And like Devin said, those sharp pebbles, let's see what sharp, these are the like double-sided sharp pebbles. Look, you have a 400 and a 1000, and I'm guessing that's not even a real 1000 and not a real 400 because they never are. They don't have like the same gist standard as your Shaptons or Naniwas or Swahiros, and it's $24. So really, for $9 more, you can get a Chocera 1K. Get out of here. These are, in my opinion, for the quality you're getting here on these Sharp Pebbles dual-sided combination stones, you're getting robbed. They're not cheap at all. And not to mention, they're going to mess up your edge. And you're going to mess up your razor, your expensive razor on a cheap stone. No, get out. Sometimes cheap stuff ends up being more expensive in the long run. Look at this. $39. 1K, 6K. In that case, the Kingstone 1K, 6K is cheaper. This one, $29. And this is probably better than the Sharp Pebble. I mean, if you go for the King, go for the King. I don't care. I'll just say the King is bottom of the barrel, in my opinion. But, yeah, this one, for the 6K, it might not be as bad. Because 6K does get a little bit more expensive. So if I go Naniwa, 5,000, because I don't think they have a 6,000 in the errata. But even so, like 5,000, $44 for the 5,000. Yeah, I would still go and get good quality stones from the start. Yeah, and don't soak the 6K. That's another thing. They soak differently. So the coarser they are, the more they soak. The finer they are, the less they soak. And so they have them combined together, and they're going to soak differently. And if you have like a 6K, it can mess with the binder if you leave it soaking too much. And some people have had, especially in the knife world where I came from, they would have problems with soaking them and them not polishing or sharpening at all because it messes with the binder. Like I said, sometimes going cheap can cost you a lot. All right. So Saluji says, nothing against Saluji because I can already say he says here, King synthetic stones are very cheap and very good for straight razors. I wish he would edit this. King synthetic stones are relatively cheap and sometimes good for straight razors. Or like I said, King stones are like the bottom of the barrel of what is usable for straight razors, in my opinion. You could get a 1.2 and an 8K on eBay for about $70 or so, and that would make a nice progression up to your arc, and you'll be good to go. Having that arc is a huge advantage and a great finisher. For $70, I don't know. I'd rather just like wait one more paycheck, and for $30 more, get a top of the line stone that I'm not going to move away from. 100% get separate stones. Do not get combination stones. Aubrey says, okay, I just looked at it. It seems I have a flattening stone as well. What about the small white square stone? It looks like something to make slurry with. Are we talking about the Shapton that I told you about? I love Shapton, man. Shapton is great. It could be a Nagura. I don't think the Shapton brings a Nagura with it. I don't think the Shapton Rockstar comes with a Nagura. And you might not even need it because they are so consistent. It might be, you might use it for cleaning your stone maybe. I've got those, but another one that is not labeled and pretty tiny, and it's slightly darker on one side. Swahiro, maybe? If it's not labeled, I would be cautious. Because I know Swahiro does, like, a slurry stone. If it's not labeled, I would be cautious. I agree with Devin. I have 4 different Naniwa Naguras, and they are good. Let me know if it's this. These are the ones I have, and these are good. These are kind of like the Super Stones. They're kind of gummy. I'm pretty sure it's like the Super Stone, the same material. It doesn't feel like a Chosera. It doesn't feel like the Naniwa traditional. I'm pretty sure these are Super Stones that are cut up. They might have a slightly different binder. Yeah, good advice here. Skip the Pebble Stones, 100%. Not worth your money. They are very expensive for what they are. You might think they're cheap, they're not. They are more trouble than they're worth for a razor. Yeah, I agree. Perhaps you can use them for knives and tools. And even then, you can use a Naniwa Arata and get it for like $8 more and get better results. All right, guys, I'm getting low on battery here, so I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you all for joining. I don't know if anybody else wants to make a live. If you do, is the flattening stone for planing the other stones flat? Yeah, the flattening stone, you use it to make sure you have a flat surface, because if you're honing a razor and you're not doing convex, which I'm not going to get into that right now because you don't need to get into that. You need to learn how to hone on a flat stone first before looking into that subject. But yeah, you always want to hone on a flat surface. But anyways, I have low battery. I want to thank you all for being here. If any of you guys wants to make a live, or you're planning on doing one in the future, let me know because I want to be a part of it. I like this type of conversation that we have right now. It was really good. I want to thank everybody. I always read and reply to all your comments, and my email is in my About section if you have any questions. I like doing this, and I'll do more of this, like where I read the forum and help you guys with questions, and it's a fun time. So this is something that we're going to do here in the channel more often. So peace. I forgot how to stop the live stream. Okay.